How's it going, guys? This video is going to be about my thoughts on the upcoming fight between Danny Garcia and Errol Spence, which is happening later on in the year. This is going to be Spence's first fight back since being involved in a very bad car crash at the end of last year after defeating Sean Porter in what was a very tough, close fight. Danny Garcia is coming off 2 wins since losing to Sean Porter in a very tough fight where he was outworked and outboxed a bit. But since then he's picked up 2 wins, one against Adrian Granados and one against Ivan Redkach earlier this year. Danny to me is a bit of a limited fighter. At distance he seems to struggle as well and gets outboxed, gets out jabbed, and on the inside he seems to not be that comfortable there either, or not really that effective on the inside or the outside. But he's most effective at mid-range where he can land those big hooks. He's a decent counter puncher with decent power and a decent chin as well. You've never really seen him get hurt or put down in a fight, so he's a durable fighter. But to me he lacks boxing ability at distance as well as on the inside. We saw this when he fought Keith Thurman, he got outboxed. We saw when he fought Sean Porter, he got roughed up a bit on the inside and even got outboxed a little bit by Sean Porter on the outside. We saw against Mauricio Herrera, he had trouble with Herrera's jab. He got outboxed in that fight, and a lot of people thought Herrera won that fight, even though Danny got the decision. Amir Khan as well, he was really outboxing Danny Garcia until Danny hit him with one of his big left hooks, and that changed the whole fight. Also, when Danny fought Lamont Peterson, you saw he had trouble tracking Lamont down when Lamont was moving around on the outside using lateral movement, using a lot of footwork. Danny had trouble tracking him down. It was a close fight, but at the end of that fight, when you saw Lamont switch up his game plan and he decided to take the fight to the inside and he put pressure on Danny, he was roughing Danny up a bit on the inside, getting the better of Danny towards the end of that fight. Even though Danny got the decision, a lot of people felt Lamont won that fight. I can't exactly remember how I scored it, but yeah, I mean, Danny's a solid fighter. He just, to me, he's not quite at the elite of that welterweight division. He's just a step below the likes of Porter, Spence, and Thurman and Terence Crawford. But like I say, he has decent power, so you can't ever overlook him, and he's a decent sneaky counter puncher. But he just lacks a real good jab, and even though I know he's looking to set up his left hook and he's looking to counter most of the time, but as well as his footwork, he's very flat-footed, so he's quite easy to hit, although he takes a good shot. But Errol Spence, to me, has shown to be more of a well-rounded fighter, because we've seen on the inside he's very good. He goes to the body really well. We saw he was able to fight with Sean on the inside pretty well. We saw in the Cal Brook fight he was able to track Cal Brook down, break him down, body shots. And he also showed us that he has good boxing ability in a few fights. The one that comes to mind is the Mikey Garcia fight, even though Mikey's a lot smaller than him. In that fight, Errol really showed that he can box. He has a really good jab. He has decent lateral movement. But I was most impressed in that fight with his jab. I mean, he won that fight practically just behind the jab. And I think that's really going to give Danny Garcia trouble in this fight. I think his jab's going to really bust Danny up, and Danny's going to struggle with Errol's footwork. And even if he does manage to track Errol Spence down, which I think he's going to struggle to do, but then I think he'll be outclassed on the inside by Errol Spence as well. So in this fight, I'm expecting Errol Spence to win pretty comfortably and pretty convincingly, using the jab. I probably expect him to win on points, because Earl's not the biggest puncher, although he has power and he has stopped a lot of his opponents. But Danny's very durable, so if he does happen to stop Danny, I would see it having to be a late stoppage, but most likely I'm picking Errol Spence to win a decision, although I do think he has a chance at a late stoppage in that fight. However, I'm not overlooking or counting Danny Garcia out, because I know he's dangerous. He has got heavy hands, and Earl does get hit every now and again, so it's possible Danny can land one of his counters and hurt Errol Spence and possibly get him out of there. But I think most likely case or scenario in this fight is Errol Spence to win by either decision or late stoppage. If Errol Spence is the same fighter that he was before he was involved in that very bad car crash. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the fight. I'm picking Errol Spence to win by either late stoppage or on points, leaning more towards a points victory. Let me know what you guys think, who you guys are picking. If you agree or you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for listening.